fireworks. It started with silence. No live broadcast. No sector breakdowns. No interviews from pit lane. Just still images, 12 per team, carefully selected and released on delay. It was the most tightly controlled opening day in modern F1 history. And that wasn't by accident. This wasn't a test day built for performance. It wasn't even designed to be informative. It was a regulatory shakedown, the kind of session where teams confirm the car turns on, and the FIA hopes no one looks too closely. But something felt different this time. Out of 11 teams, only 7 ran. And of those 7, most were cautious, conservative, borderline invisible. Except one, Red Bull. While Ferrari, McLaren, Aston Martin, and Williams remained behind closed garage doors, Red Bull sent out a rookie, Isaac Hadjar, and let him fly. No bluff, no hiding, just one clear message: we're ready. And that's where the narrative cracked. Because even though F1 tried to keep day one quiet, the moment one car showed real pace, the silence stopped feeling neutral. Now, the teams that didn't run are under pressure to explain why. And the teams that did run are being measured by things they weren't supposed to reveal yet. So yes, day one was designed to be uneventful. But in Formula One, even a whisper, when no one else is speaking, can feel like a shout. It was just one lap. Unofficial, untelevised, unconfirmed. But in the world of Formula One, one lap is enough to change everything if it's fast enough. Isaac Hadjar, Red Bull's rookie, put in a 1 minute and 18.835 seconds. In cold, early morning conditions. On an unrubbered track. In a car no one had seen in motion until that moment. It wasn't supposed to mean anything. Not at this stage. Not when teams are running conservative maps, heavy fuel, and tight instructions. But that's the problem. It did mean something. Because visually, the car looked stable, planted through mid-corner, responsive on throttle. No signs of rear instability, no snap corrections, no desperate saves. Just calm speed. Compare that to Mercedes. Kimi Antonelli ran more laps, 56 in total. But his fastest time was nearly 2 seconds slower. More importantly, he never looked like he was pushing. The car looked safe, functional, but not urgent. And suddenly, the paddock was watching. Not because Red Bull confirmed anything, but because they didn't need to. They let a rookie put in a lap that sent one message: we don't care if you're watching. We're still faster. That confidence on day one is powerful. Not because it gives them points, but because it forces everyone else to ask, if that's what they're showing now, what are they still hiding? For teams didn't run a single lap, not even a systems check. No footage, no telemetry leaks, just complete silence from behind closed garage doors. Ferrari was one of them, which is surprising and not. They've been talking about the SF26 for months, how aggressive, how different, how bold it would be under the new 2026 rules. But on the day when showing something mattered most, they showed nothing. The official story: they're taking their time. But unofficially, there are whispers that the cooling system, especially for the hybrid unit, isn't stable yet. When half of your total power now depends on battery deployment, a small airflow miscalculation becomes a major problem. And you don't risk that even in testing. McLaren's absence felt more calculated. They finished 2025 strong. They've been quiet on upgrades, but loud on intent. So when they didn't run, it raised the question: are they hiding strength or weakness? Aston Martin? No real explanation. There were expectations that their new Aero package would debut early in the Barcelona runs. But there were rumors of last-minute hardware issues with the ERS. And when energy deployment rules are now stricter than ever, one software delay can stop an entire rollout. Then there's Williams. They were expected to run first, to grab early mileage, get ahead of reliability unknowns. But when the track went live, they stayed silent. And that's not strategic. That's worrying. Because when nearly half the grid doesn't run on day one, and one of the teams that does ends up controlling the narrative, the silence stops feeling like patience. It starts to look like a problem no one wants to admit. In a season defined by rule changes, you'd expect the FIA to speak first, to guide the teams, clarify gray zones, and publicly enforce technical limits. But on day one, they said almost nothing. No press briefing, no breakdown of what teams were testing, no comment on who is in full compliance and who is stretching definitions. And that's where the real tension begins. Because when the FIA stays quiet, the loudest team, or the fastest team, fills that vacuum. Red Bull's lap wasn't just fast. It was strategic. They didn't wait for the FIA to declare what was or wasn't acceptable. They ran their car, they showed pace, and they dared the FIA to raise a hand. And the FIA did. Which might sound like fairness, no early penalties, no interference. But in Formula One, silence isn't neutral. It's permission. We've seen this story before. Ferrari's 2019 fuel flow loophole, Mercedes' DS system in 2020. Both innovations lived in regulatory gray zones until they were either outlawed or quietly settled behind closed doors. But in both cases, the teams that acted first gained months of advantage. That's the danger now. Because if one team is already running a full deployment system, if one team has solved thermal flow, battery harvesting, and rear aero drag, and the FIA doesn't say a word, then every other team has to either guess what's legal or risk falling behind. This isn't about catching cheats. It's about controlling the season before it begins. And right now, the FIA isn't controlling anything. They're watching, just like the rest of us. If you only looked at the lap count, Mercedes came out on top. They ran 56 laps with Kimi Antonelli, solid, clean, and without visible reliability issues. But the numbers don't tell the full story. Because while Mercedes ran more, Red Bull ran smarter. Red Bull didn't just bring a working car. They brought a message, a rookie behind the wheel, a competitive time, and not a single sign of limitation in the car's handling, acceleration, or deployment phases. It wasn't dominance, but it was intentional visibility. And that visibility has power. Because even if the lap time wasn't officially timed, even if conditions were far from optimal, every engineer on the grid saw what that lap could mean. And more importantly, what it forced their own program to respond to. Mercedes looked cautious. Antonelli did what he needed to do. Gather data, stay within margins, finish the run. But when your top rival looks aggressive from day one, a conservative session becomes a red flag, even if everything technically went right. Audi ran 27 laps and then stopped. It was quiet, understated, but it raised questions. Was that the plan? Or did something go wrong that no one wants to admit yet? Haas managed 42 laps, clean and controlled. No issues, no headlines, but also no standout moments. In a year where boldness might define the early lead, Haas played it safe, maybe too safe. Alpine, meanwhile, had a full shutdown. A suspected calibration issue stopped their car on track. It didn't return. That kind of failure, on day one, is never a good sign. Because in modern F1, electronic instability isn't just annoying. It's a sign that your entire system might not be ready. So while only 7 teams ran, and the lap times didn't officially count, the real scoreboard is already forming. Not based on speed, but on who looked in control. And right now, only one team, Red Bull, looked like they knew exactly what they were doing. The first day of testing didn't feel like a launch. It felt like a negotiation between secrecy and exposure, between confidence and caution, between what teams were willing to show and what they had to hide. Red Bull wasn't the fastest, because there's no official scoreboard, but they were the loudest, without saying a word. They rolled out a car, sent a rookie to push it, and dared the rest of the grid to respond. No one did. Ferrari didn't run. McLaren stayed silent. The teams we expected to lead the charge were absent. And that silence, it's no longer tactical. It's vulnerable. Because in Formula One, control is everything. And right now, Red Bull is controlling the narrative, the tone, and by the looks of it, the early technical lead. And when the FIA says nothing and half the grid doesn't even run, that lead only grows stronger by the hour. Day one didn't settle anything, but it might have revealed everything. Not through lap times, but through tension. Through who showed up, who didn't, and who looked ready even when they weren't supposed to. This wasn't the day Formula One expected. It was the day Formula One allowed. And if teams don't catch up quickly, this season could be decided long before the lights even go out in Bahrain. Because when the silence breaks, it might be too late to answer the question that matters most. Who's really in control of 2026?